of 7. Okay? So, everybody pretty clear there? Yeah? Okay, so we had 7 here. Now what we do is we actually insert this into a formula, which is your personal monthly net cycle growth let's see, divided by the number of weeks in the month. I'm just making sure I get this formula right. Yeah, number of weeks in the month, and then times it by the weeks you qualified for. You qualified in the pool. So in this case, our personal monthly net cycle growth was 7 divided by how many weeks were in the month? We got 4, and then you times that by the number of weeks that you qualified in the pool. So now, in order to qualify for the director pool, you just have to have one week out of the 4 that you hit, that you're paid as director, and obviously you have to be over, this number has to be positive over your benchmark. So in this case, let's say that we were paid as a director all 4 weeks in the pool. And for the pool, you have to be paid as director all 7 days of the week to qualify for that week. Okay, so if you were just paid as 5 days out of the week, you wouldn't qualify for this week. So all 7 days during the week. So let's say in this case we qualified every single week, so we would just times this by 4. So 7 divided by 4 times 4 is roughly 8. We'll call it 8. Okay, my ASU math kicking in. Okay, so this gives us our qualified monthly net cycle growth, or shares in the pool, for the director pool. So we take this formula here again, and that gives us your shares, which are 8. Now, the way, obviously, you want to be paid as director all weeks during the month, because if you fall off one day or a couple days, this you would divide, or you would times this by 3, and this number would get smaller. Okay? Yeah?
And it still counts you as being qualified, even that second week where you were under your benchmark? That's still a qualifying week? Still
counts. So regardless of whether you qualified, the cycle amount counts. So you could be not paid as director here, but you could have 13 cycles here, and that's going to count towards over.
My question is, this is actually 7. Yeah. ASU math guy.
Is it 7?
Yeah, but my question is, it always works out to be this number. So why do we need to go through the formulation when it just seems like it always works out like it's that?
Not if you don't qualify all 4 weeks.
Oh,
not
okay.
If you don't.
But if you do, it's that if you do this formulation.
It's 100%.
Yeah, I mean, if you're qualified for director all 4 weeks out of the month, it is going to be the same number because you times it by 4. But if you were, if these two you were paid as consultant.
Right. No, I get that. So then that formulation all changes. Right.
Well, the formula stays the same.
Is that number.
But this just changes to 2, which makes this 3.5. So you have less shares in the pool. So.
But did the second week, didn't they not qualify because they didn't hit their benchmark though?
Right. Oh.
Not in the director pool.
But
they were still paid as director, right? So this number, whatever the cycles is always going to count for this. Where weeks qualified comes in is basically your paid as rank, either director or executive. So for the director pool.
Is it every 4 weeks? It's always 4 weeks or 5 weeks?
Sometimes there's 5 weeks, yeah. So we go off a 4-4-5 calendar, yeah. So yeah, sometimes there's 5 weeks in the month.
Eric?
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to point out on that, and you touched on at the beginning, is you have to be that status the Sunday night before that week begins. So, because a lot of people, if you don't become director until after 9 o'clock, then that makes you not qualify for that whole week.
I actually think that let's say you're paid as consultant or paid as director Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but then somebody falls off on Thursday. As long as you fix it that day, you're still good.
Correct.
I'm talking
Okay,
about,
then this
I'm
is
talking about
different
the
though.
com-
Yeah.
I'm talking about coming into the
Coming
month,
in on
okay?
the
So you're coming
Okay.
into the month,
Right.
right? And the month begins April 1st.
Uh-huh.
So that night, the night before, you've got to make yourself a director, executive, whatever.
Before 9 o'clock.
Before 9 o'clock that night, or that whole week's not gonna count. So, yeah, know that one from experience.
All right, yeah, yeah.
So that's where you were saying, yeah, you could miss
Yeah.
up one thing,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
lose thousands of dollars. Well,
Yeah.
that was one of the things I missed, right?
Okay.
So you've got to be, so you learn that shit quick, right? So you've got to make that mark, whatever it is, director, executive, whatever, that night
Right.
of that Sunday night, so that you take it that whole week, so that you're good that whole week. Now, if you fall out that day, I don't know if that comes in, if you can fix it during that same
You
business
can
day.
fix
Yeah,
it during
you can.
that day,
Now,
yeah.
that's something you didn't know, and that's good to know.
And that's a great thing
That's a
to
great thing to
Yeah.
know. So you have like just the day to fix it.
You do the day, yeah,
The
so
day.
like before 9 o'clock.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so if you,
That's the,
yeah, if it falls off, in the morning or whatever, you got till 9 that night to
Right.
get it reactivated.
So in that 4-week month, let's
Uh-huh.
say you don't make director till the 3rd week, then are you still in the pools the 3rd and 4th, or you have to be in it from the beginning to get the whole time?
You're in the pools as long as, so let's say you're not a paid as director this month
Right.
or this month, but like you said, you hit director this month. Great. Or
So those 2
this
weeks
week.
still count?
So these 2 weeks don't count,
Right.
but assuming you stay paid as director, these 2 count.
Okay.
But the cycles still count here and here.
Oh, okay. They
Yeah.
they go back, okay.
The cycles still count. So like let's say you had a huge cycle, you cycled 15 times, but you weren't paid as director. That is still going to count towards this number.
Oh.
but then you only divide it by the number of weeks you
Right.
qualify.
Right.
So you
But
would change that.
that's where it's going to affect you because
Yeah.
yeah,
That's okay. At least you get the cycle.
you get the cycles, right?
And so if she went halfway through the week on the 3rd week, like on a Wednesday,
Huh?
you didn't have to be director the whole week.
You don't, right?
Yeah, it would count.
No, you have to be director the entire
From
week,
Sunday,
The whole week,
starting
Sunday.
Sunday.
the whole week.
If
So,
you-
but again,
But you can still use your cycles for all that time.
exactly, yeah.
On
But
that
let's say
Sunday,
you
okay.
miss these first 3 and you hit this one, you're just gonna, then this would just times by 1 instead of 2. So, because you only have to qualify for 1 week out of the month to
Okay.
qualify for the director pool.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So now, I'll get into where the share value comes in here. Pretty clear on this? Okay, all right. If you have questions, let me know. I'm telling you, we're just getting into this.
I have one.
Yeah.
Is there any plans to up that pool at this point?
The 50,000?
Yeah, no plan right now?
Not as of now, but I mean, we just added it. So I mean, this is a new pool, and so I
I
mean,
guess I was more referring to the one that's two stuff.
4 years, or 4 months ago, that direct pool didn't exist. Yeah.
What about the one star?
Are we looking at growing the pool?
Yeah, maybe 200. Instead of one.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're always looking at ways to, as the company grows,
That's what I said.
we're gonna look for more ways to pay you more money.
Yeah.
And that's why as we've gotten bigger as a company, I mean, 2.5 years ago, none of these pools existed. The rank advancement bonus didn't exist. Double PIVs didn't exist. So I mean,
Yes.
as we hit $1 billion a year in sales, I mean, we're going to continue to pour more money into the pot. It allows you the freedom to do that. Yeah.
How do you know what the shares are worth in each, like, for example, last month, like, is that?
So it depends for the director pool and executive pool. It depends on how many people participate in the pool. For the 2-star and above pools, the share value is fixed every single month, and we will show you like what the share value is going to be 3 months in advance. Yeah.
Can you talk about the 500,000 and how to max it out to 2,500? How many
Yeah,
cycles?
so that's
Maxing out.
that's what we're gonna do. So the director pool, again, we had in our example for shares or qualified net cycle growth, we had 7, right? So for the director's pool, there's caps on it. So if your qualified net cycle growth is between 1 and 9, the most you can earn in the pool is $500. So in this case, the most we could earn was 500. if you earn between 10 and 20, the most you can earn is $1,000. And if you earn 21 or above, the most you can earn is $2,500. So let's say we had 9 here. Let's just say this number was 9. I mean, it would have taken us maybe one more cycle during the week to get to, an extra $500. So that's where when kind of knowing the formulations and know where you stand is important. Like, let's say you were at 20, or this number was 20. If you would have had one more cycle or qualified one more week or done something, your maximum could have gone up to 2,500 in the pool.
Yeah.
So like one cycle could be an extra $1,500.
Can you share with them where to find this information so that they can calculate it themselves?
Yeah, it's in the report section in your back office. Contests and promotions, right? Yeah, and yeah, there's an executive leadership pool flyer on all this stuff, and I say FYI. But yeah, if you click on contests and promotions under reports, you'll be able to see your whole. I mean, it goes through the formula and everything in your reports.
Sorry, we have to have you here, we don't read flyers.
Well, no, the flyer it's hard unless you have somebody explain it.
Let's get back office.
What's contest and promotions?
Now, for the director's pool, you can only participate in 3 consecutive months in the director's pool because we always want people to be advancing their business. So let's say you qualified for the director's pool this month. That basically your clock starts going, saying, okay, well, you can qualify two more months, in your history for the director's pool. Okay.
And when did you start the director's pool again? Was it December or?
We started the director's pool. I think it was New Year kickoff.
Yeah.
Of January.
Yeah, I think New Year kickoff. So
really, because January, March was your time for the director's pool. You were director.
If you qualified, yeah. So if you hit, some people qualified January, February, March in the director's pool. For April, they wouldn't be able to qualify. But if you've never qualified in the the director's pool ever, your first month could be this month. Okay.
And if you fall out of the director, are you out of the pool? Or when you can't get back in the pool? So say you fell out of director and 4 days later you were back to director status. Are you done, or is that you're not able to play in that pool anymore?
You can still play in the pool. It just goes back to the what I had up here earlier. Depending on your weeks qualified during the month. Remember, you only have to have 1 week during the month to qualify for the pool. But once you qualify once for the director pool, then basically you have 2 more months, the next 2 months to participate in the pool. Okay? How are we doing so far?
Does it have to be 3 consecutive months?
Yeah.
It's 3 consecutive months. Right.
So if you qualify month 1 and you drop off, then you're done.
If you qualify month 1 and you don't hit it the next month,
Right.
Then you have-
can't do it the third because it's not consecutive.
well, you can still qualify the 3rd. Basically, you have 3 months
The clock starts ticking
on
Okay.
your first,
on the first time.
Okay.
And your
So you could
first.
do 2 out of 3, your first and your third.
Right.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay. So that's director pool right there. Pretty clear? Okay.
And you guys, you should, again, you all need to know your benchmark, but you also need to know your teammates' benchmark, because they don't understand this. And then if you can see if they're going to make, by going one more cycle, another $500. I mean, you got to be watching your downline. You can get in there and see their benchmark. You can see your downline's benchmark just by clicking on their full details right underneath where their team is. Know your downline, and know their benchmark. Super important. I know, but I got to tell you, I mean, Ashley and I talk about this every week. What's your benchmark? And he knows. I'll tell him what's Michelle's benchmark. He knows. Susan Sly knows every single person on her team, and I guarantee you she probably knows all their benchmarks. If not, she has somebody write them all down for her, because she knows if she gets him another $500, it's gold. It's gold. So super important.
So that number we had was 7. So let's say the share value was 50 or whatever. So it's just 50 times 7, and that gives you your bonus for the director pool for that month.
Get your people paid, guys, get your people paid.
That's right.
Yep.
Okay, so executive pool is basically the same thing, except the caps just get higher. So for
It's not called one-star pool anymore. We
Right,
got rid
it's-
of that, because
it's
you don't have to
retail.
hit 10 cycles to be in this pool, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Mhm.
That was a gift. Well, the problem is there's so many people now.
I know, I know.
So, okay.
Thank you.
I had my moment too, Brian. I've missed out on
Okay,
a lot
so,
recently.
so for the executive pool, it's basically exactly the same thing, except you have to be paid as executive. So again, we look back on the previous month, so let's say from March, you had 8, 9, and 12. Let's say that averaged out to 9, so that becomes your benchmark for the month of April, which is this month. So we do the exact same thing. So you hit 9 your first week, and then you hit 10, then you hit 15, and you hit 8. So we're even here. +1, +6, -1. So that gives us 6. Yeah. 6. Okay, so that gives us 6. Now so that's our personal monthly net cycle growth is 6. Now for the executive pool, again, we go back to that formula. Personal monthly net cycle growth, which was 6, divided by the number of weeks in a month, which were 4, times by the number of weeks you're qualified. So let's say you were paid as executive all 4 weeks in the month, so we would times that by 4. Okay.
I thought you had to be 2 over on something. 2 share or 2 over your benchmark for something for executive pool, which was different than director's pool.
I thought that was 2.
I believe you have to be 2 over this number, this personal monthly net cycle growth, I believe has to be 2.
Yeah, that's 6. That's
At least 2.
At least 2.
Right.
That's 6, bottom 6. It has
Just
at
the
least
2, not 2 over your
No, no,
benchmark?
that
Minimum
has to
of
be-
2.
The bottom number
This
just
one.
has to be at least 2.
Yeah, because that's your
Good
personal,
play.
that's your monthly cycle.
Yeah, but so
okay.
then it's not
That's-
considered the 11,
that's my screw
2
up.
over
right
9.
there. Okay,
Because
thank you.
then it wouldn't be that much money to make waste money on it.
If the benchmark is 9, and that's 2 over, does that have to be 9 plus 2?
No.
No, it's just that bottom number.
Yeah, this number here just has to be at least 2.
Has to be greater than 2.
It has to be at least 2.
Right. Okay, so that's where this basically comes in here. And I don't know what this number is.
6.
Let's call it, we'll call it 6. So that becomes your,
Is that ASU math again?
ASU math. So this becomes 6, and so this is our qualified net cycle growth, or our shares for the pool. And the caps for the executive pool are different. So for the executive pool, I believe if it's 1 and 5, between 1 and 5 shares that you've earned, the maximum you can earn is $500. Between 6 and 10 equals $1,000. And 11 or above, the max you can earn is $5,000. So this is huge. Because let's say you're sitting here at 10. One more cycle during the week could have been a $4,000 cycle. Could have been. In most cases it's not, because we got a lot of people participating, and you got to hit, a lot over 11 to get 5,000. But again, these are maximum numbers you can earn based on these numbers. Sorry. It's just a mess. Hot mess.
You're a mess.
So that's the caps on the executive pool. Okay? And with the executive pool, you only have to participate 1 week out of the month to participate in the executive pool. So basically, you have to be paid as executive all 70 days a week. One time during, or 1 week out of the month to be qualified for that pool.
But to get the 5,000, it depends on what the shares are worth.
Depends on what the share is worth, how many people are participating. Like if this number is like 34, I mean, you've got a good shot at being, close to this $5,000 number. If you're at 11, you're probably not going to hit 5,000, but but you could, depending on how many people participate.
And you know that share value at the beginning of the month, or not?
For the executive pool, you don't.
When
But
do you know that?
you know that for the 2-star and above pools.
You don't know.
Those are
Yeah.
fixed. Yeah.
It's like a present.
And actually, what we did for the 2-star and above pools was what we found was the old pools we just poured $100,000 into every pool, but as the company grew, that share value, because so many people were just participating, it was becoming like $2 a share, and it was just very little. And so what we did was we poured more money, over $100,000, into the 2-star and above pools, and we said, okay, we're going to tell you what the share value is, so people know where they're at, and we're pouring in over $100,000, so we added more money.
But in the 1-star, there's no really way to know where you're at, like to try to hit that 5,000 at the very end.
Not as far as share value, no. But I'll tell you, you always want to shoot, for 11 or above. Yeah.
So for directors, it's 3 months, and then for executive, it's...
Executive, it's 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah. So that's a good question. So now let's say you hit the director pool 1 month, and then the next month you hit the executive pool. You are out of the director pool for good. So because we want you to be advancing, so you can't go, because a lot of people were kind of playing the pools. It's like, well, I'll make some in the director, then I'll go to the executive pool, but then they were falling back and going back into the director pool. So once you hit the executive pool, you can't participate in the director pool anymore.
Now, what about those that hit 1-star, but they're not a director or an executive yet?
Then they can't participate in the pools.
Okay, so they don't have any bonus or anything. All they're making is their typical 5 ways of getting paid, or 4.
Right.
Okay.
So to participate in any pool, you got to be at least paid as director.
Okay.
Yeah.
And their clock doesn't start ticking at all,
No, there's no.
because there is no.
Yeah. The only
Okay.
time the clock ticks is when first time you hit your pool.
Okay.
And so, and again, for the executive pool, as soon as you hit your first week in the pool, you can't participate in the director pool anymore, but you've got 6 months to participate in the executive pool. Okay? And then with the 2-star and above pools, though, there are no time limits on that. You can only participate for 6 months, or
Oh, the 3 month is out?
the 3 months and the 6 months is out for the 2-star and above pools.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Is this helping? Getting
Well,
Eric, there's still a tripling though in the first 3 months of the 2-star.
Yeah, and I'm going to get into that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah, that's what I was questioning, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to get into that.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so moving on to the 2-star pools. All right. So the 2-star pool so the director pool and executive pool are just based off of your personal cycle growth. The 2-star and above pools are based on your personal cycle growth and what we call your 4 PET personal cycle growth. Your 4 personally enrolled teams, what we call it. So I can just kind of explain that briefly. So let's say you got Jill up here, and then she goes out. Jill enrolls Joe here. So this is Jill's 1 PET. Something like 1 generation personally enrolled team. Okay? Now let's say Jill goes out and enrolls another person here, Sue. Because Jill enrolled Sue, that's still Jill's first personally enrolled team, because Jill enrolled. But let's say Sue goes out and enrolls somebody right here, Bob. Okay? So now this is Jill's 2nd generation, her 2 personally enrolled team. Okay? let's say Jill goes out and enrolls somebody here. This, because Jill enrolled them, it's still her first personally enrolled team. Okay? Now let's say this person, Bob goes out and Bob enrolls somebody here. That's Jill's third personally enrolled team. Okay? Because Jill enrolled Sue. So that's Jill's first person enrolled. Sue enrolled Bob. So that's Jill's second person enrolled team. Bob enrolled whoever, third person enrolled team. Okay? But now if Jill enrolls somebody down here, first PET. Okay? And if, let's see, Joe enrolls somebody down here, that's her second. That's Jill's second PET. Okay? Kind of, you got that? Okay, so, and again, 4 generations deep. And so we actually look at the cycles of your 4 PET and their personal, and their cycles, and we give you benchmark based on that. Okay? So essentially, you're given 2 benchmarks for the 2-star and above pools. Your personal cycle growth benchmark, and then your 4 PET cycle growth benchmark. Okay? Okay. Okay, so let's say you're, and for the 4 PET benchmark, we actually look back 13 weeks to develop that 4 personally enrolled team benchmark. For the personal cycles, again, we just look back on the previous month. For the 4 PET, we look back 13 weeks. Okay? Am I losing anybody?
No, we kind of went over that a little bit before you got here.
Okay.
Which is really great, you guys, because they're not averaging it over 4 weeks, over that 13 weeks. So again, you grow, that benchmark grows very slowly. It gives you time to build. It gives you time to build.
Yeah, and that's the key. If you've got people that are like really ready to run, in the director pool, executive leadership pool, all these pools, their benchmark the previous month is 0 because they've never done anything. So anytime they hit above 0 and they're paid as director, I mean, it's if they go director quickly. Yeah.
Look, our benchmark's like 0, is that?
No, that's great. That's great,
And
especially
now it's 3, and even if it's 3 right now, I'm like, run.
Right.
Now's when you can make massive.
Exactly. That's why, yeah, a lot of people, they run fast at the beginning and they start maxing out those pools because the benchmarks are nothing.
Easy to do.
Yeah. Okay, so you're given the 13-week 4 PET benchmark and then your personal cycle benchmark. So we look at your 4 PET 13 weeks out or weeks previous, and let's say it's 60. So cumulative in your team, every single week you average about 60 cycles for your 4 PET. And then your personals, let's say it's 18. So that's your personal benchmark. So again, every single week you want to try to get above 60 for your 4 PET and above 18 for your personal cycle growth. Okay?
So you have to meet both of those qualifications.
Right. So yeah. So let's say for April here. So again, 4 weeks in the month. So each week, your 4 PET benchmark is 60. For your personal cycle growth, it's 18. That's your benchmark. So you want to, let's say the first week for your 4 PET, you hit 56, then you hit 82, and then you hit 61, and then 60. So whatever that averages out to, let's say it's 35 above. So you're 35 above your benchmark. And then for your personal cycles, we look at the personal cycles. This really counts for the doubling and tripling, which we'll get into, and then also the caps. Okay, this is a lot of stuff. Okay, so.
No, we're with you.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, okay. So this number here, your 4 PET cycle growth, this is what goes in the formula. This number, your personal cycle growth for the 2-star and above pools, doesn't go in the formula. It only has to do with your caps and also on the doubling and tripling in the pool. Okay? So let me just catch up here. Okay. Now, to participate in the 2-star and above pool, your personal cycle growth, this number, whatever this is that you were up every month, it has to be at least 10 to participate in the 2-star pool. Okay, so let's say, you know, here you were 20, 25, 24, and 18. So right here, this averages out to 2, 7, 11. So we're good here. So we've done enough. This just has to be at least 10. So in this case, we're 11, so we're all good. In the 4th through 6 and above pools, this number has to be at least 20 for your personal cycle growth. Just for the 2, 3-star pool, it has to be 10. Okay. But inserting in the formula, it's just this number. So we'll do a formula here. Okay, so we got our formula. So our personal monthly net cycle growth was 35, or our 4 PET cycle growth was 35 divided by 4, the number of weeks in the month, times by how many weeks we were qualified. Now for the 2-star and above pools, you have to have at least 2 weeks that you've qualified, that you've hit 20 cycles, and you're paid as executive. Okay? So in the director and executive pools, you have to just hit 1 week that you're paid as director or executive. For the 2-star and above pools, let's say the 2, 3-star pool, you have to at least 20 cycles, and you have to be paid as executive. If you're paid as director and hit 20 cycles, you're not qualifying for the 2-star pool. Okay? And so that you have to do this at least 2 times during the month. And there is one exception with that, which I'll get into. So let's say you qualified you hit.
Go ahead, sorry.
Let's say you hit 20 cycles. So you have to hit 20 cycles and be paid as executive. So let's say you did that, all 4 times during the week. So this number would again be 35, or you'd have 35 shares in the pool. Now for the cycle growth, I forgot what the example was, but let's say we hit 18, 24, 31, and 30. And we were paid as executive. How many weeks did we qualify for this pool, in the 2-star pool? 3. Because this week, you were paid as executive, but you didn't hit 20 cycles. So this one, you're not. This number will still count for this bottom line number. But because you weren't paid, or you didn't hit 20 cycles, you're only qualified 3 weeks out of the month, and this would turn into a. Okay?
But that top week, you would qualify for the 1-star, right? Set 18.
The top week you would qualify for the 1-star.
You'd be in the
exactly.
1-star.
You would be in the 1, yeah. So you can participate in both pools.
If it's within the first 6 months of your
of the 1-star, right? Right. So in this case, right. That's a great point. So we hit 18 cycles here, and we're paid as executive. So we're eligible to participate in the 1-star or the executive leadership pool, and also the 2-star pool because we qualified at least 2 weeks. So you can participate in both pools.
So that bottom number would count for both pools.
Right. Now, the only exception with this 2 times during the week is, let's say these numbers here were 19, 15, but then this one you hit 22. You qualify for the executive pool, and you actually advanced and you hit 2-star pool. We're not going to penalize you for advancing. So you can actually participate in the 2-star pool just by entering this pool hitting this 1 time instead of 2.
Brent, did that just happen to you?
That happened last month.
Can
But,
you,
but actually, well, not really, because I hit it twice, right?
Oh.
Remember, I hit it. Because last month was a 5-week month, so I hit it 2. I hit the 2-star
Twice.
3 times. instead of 2. So yeah, but yeah, I get it. And actually it was really cool because that's where Eric's headed, is the fact that you end up getting paid. They use all of your cycle growth in calculations on both of your pools in a favorable way. I guess that's the best way to explain it.
Right.
So no matter what you do there, it turns out in a favorable scenario.
Exactly.
So because that's the last month they allow you to play in the 2-star pool?
You can participate in the 2-star pool, right? Yeah.
Because it's just on the last month.
Yeah.
And so wouldn't that hurt you? Because it's pulling you out of the 1-star pool. It pulls shares out of your 1-star pool.
It's not pulling shares out of the 1-star pool because
Well,
this
you're only
number,
instead of qualifying for 4 weeks.
you get 3, but you're participating in the 2-star pool, and the payouts are higher, and especially because you can double and triple in your first.
Even on 1 week? You
Yeah.
double and triple that?
Right.
Well, you look at it like that. I just see because you have 3 weeks in the 1-star pool, right? Now, where you would have had 4 weeks in the 1-star pool with all that, you can time, whatever, 11 times divided by 4 times 4. Now you're only timesing it by 3,
Right.
which actually pulled shares out of the 1-star pool that you would have had. And now you're taking shares, from the 2-star pool.
Which is a higher pool, and you can double and triple the first time you get.
2-star? You're
Yeah.
saying the 2-star is higher?
The 2-star, the payouts, the potential is a lot higher than the 1-star pool.
So I didn't have that experience whatsoever, because I was looking at 1-star being roughly $200 to $400 per share, or 2-star $12 per share at the time.
It was only 83 last month.
Yeah, it was only $83
Which was?
Right. I got a few of those. Yeah.
last month.
So I wanted to stay in the 1-star as long as possible.
No, you never want to hold back. You want to keep advancing, and
Well-
that's why one of the reasons why we added the first 3 months. So I'll get into this now. The first 3 months that you participate in the 2-star and above pool, you can double and you can triple your dollar amount for the month. So in your case, people were experiencing, I don't know if you want to call it a cliff or whatever, but they were getting these $3,000-$4,000 bonuses in the 1-star pool, but then they got in the 2-star pool and they were receiving $1,000, and they were like, well, gosh, why wouldn't I stay in the 1-star pool? It's paying me more money. So we said is we're going to pour more money into the 2-star pool, and the first 3 months that you participate in there, you can double or triple your payout. So. And that's based off of your personal cycle growth. So let's see. You can tell I'm not very organized. Okay. All right. Well, so I believe it's, and you may have to help me out here, but if you're between 10 and I think 20 for your personal cycle growth, we're going to it's the first time you participate in the 2-star pool. We're going to double the amount of income that you made in the 2-star pool. But I think if it's 20 or above, and I want to clarify this when I get the sheet.
21.
I'm looking for it.
20, yeah, that's right, 21. 21 or above, you actually triple it. So let's say your payout for the 2-star pool when you hit it normally was $1,500. That was your bonus for the month of the 2-star pool. If you hit between this number on your personal cycles, and it was one of your first 3 months participating, this number, you're going to get an additional $1,500 for a total of $3,000.
Okay.
If you were 21 or above in your personal cycles, we're actually going to triple it. So this is going to be $3,000. And so you're gonna get $4,500
Oh, okay.
bonus.
And that's what you're talking about, that just recently changed.
That changed probably about 7 or 8 months ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when we saw that was happening, that, we never want to encourage people from advancing in rank.
Right.
So what we did was we poured more money into the first 3 months of the 2-star pool and said, hey, you're advancing, that's great. We don't want to penalize you if you're getting a lesser bonus in the 2-star pool, so we're going to double or triple it.
Okay.
And I know in this team, there's been a lot of people that have doubled and tripled there.
Yeah, so I think I'm having the same experience. I went from director right to 1-star. So I didn't get to play in the 1-star. And so I make my benchmark, I'm so far over, and yet I'm not hitting any of those.
You can, so for the director pool, for the executive pool, you can still participate in the executive pool, even though you participated in the 2-star pool.
Okay, so I have to find out about that.
Yeah, I believe it's only the director pool that, if you advance to the executive pool, you can't participate in the director pool. But let's say you go straight from director to 2-star, you hit the 2-star for one month. The next month, you can still participate in the executive pool.
No, I'm not. I'm saying it's like, that's where I can I'll show you.
Yeah, but no, but you can still participate in that executive pool.
Okay.
Yeah, just not the director pool.
Right.
What's that?
The first 3 months. Yeah.
The first 3 months, yeah, in the pool. Yeah, consecutive months, you can participate in the double or the tripling. Yeah. And again, I want to confirm these numbers, but
That seems right.
that is right. Okay.
21 or over. 21 plus gets you to the
Triple, right. So it's got to be between 10 and 20.
Yeah, 10 and 20 is a double.
Right.
I have a
So,
question.
okay.
In any of the pools, like starting with the executive, say, do you have to beat your benchmark each month? Like, does your benchmark automatically, I know it's an average, but can you have the same benchmark like 3 months in a row?
No. So, okay. So for like March, you've got your certain benchmark.
Hold on, we need to quiet
For
the
April.
room.
So that's your benchmark for April. Okay. So you've got your average for March, which becomes your benchmark for April.
Right.
Okay. Then we look at your cycles for April or whatever, and assuming you grew, we look at those cycles for April, that average, and that's going to be your benchmark for May.
Can it be the same?
It could be, or it
If
could
you
be
don't-
less. I mean, if you're not growing, it could go down, and your benchmark could get less. You're not going to be participating in the pool.
That's my question. I don't know where I read somewhere where I thought it had to go up by 2 from your first month, say, to your second month, or you couldn't participate in the pools again. Like, you have to show growth or you can't be in the pools. Is that not true?
Oh yeah, no, it's true. It has to be at least 10 in your personal cycle growth for the 2-star and above pools.
What about executive?
Executive, it just has to be 2
2 for that month.
for that month.
But that doesn't, if it's
Not for
less
the
than 2
week.
that month, then you don't qualify that month, but that
Right.
doesn't prevent you from qualifying the next month.
Even if you have no growth and you just stay the same.
Because the next month you may be over 2.
Okay.
And that's set for a month. Your benchmark is set for the month.
Set for the month.
It's set at the beginning of that chart with the weird dates that don't always align for the
Exactly,
first
yep.
and the 30th.
Exactly.
So whatever it is on the first day of that, it's not going to change. You don't even have to look.
For the month, your benchmark is not going to change. No.
But you should look at the beginning of that next month, whatever the dates are.
Yeah, because it's going to be it'll be a new benchmark based on your performance from the last month.
Okay. And it could be the same benchmark for March and April and May.
It could be if
Okay.
you're staying pretty flat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it could be, and it could be less.
Okay.
And it could be more. It
Does
depends
it
on
ever
if you're
go
growing.
down? Is your benchmark, can it go down?
Oh yeah. I mean, if you're not growing your business
Yeah.
and your business is declining, it's going to go down.
That's curious.
Yeah. Because again, it's just an average of the previous month.
Yeah.
Same thing with the 4 PET, the 13 weeks.
Yeah.
Same exact thing.
Hopefully that never happens.
So for the for the 2-star and above pool, if your personal cycle growth, so there's caps on the 2, 3-star pool.
I just don't.
So for your personal cycle growth, if it's between 10 and 30, the most you can ever earn in the 2-star pool is $10,000. Okay? And then we had people just this past month earn $10,000 in the pool whose personal cycle growth were between that area. 31 to 50.
Eric, can you give an example of how that would happen in the
Yeah.
2-star? Like how
How is that possible?
how is that possible based off of $18 a share? Because
Okay,
even
so
if you're tripling, your best you're going to get is $18 a share.
if you're tripling, yeah, so there's caps on the tripling too. I think it's the most you